name is Joey Brake, and you're listening to the Floodgates podcast.
And I'm Kenton Brake, and we're so excited we get to communicate with you via this podcast, just where we can have talks and conversations about life.
Yes, it's episode 6, and we're so excited for today's conversation. It's been so fun to be able to have these kind of talks and talk about different ideas and concepts that we've been discussing as a church. But today we are getting to the idea of passion.
Wow, I love passion.
Passion is one of our values at our church, that we value passion. Passion is our fuel.
So good. Yeah, and we just want, you have to live a life with passion. Passion is what fuels you, what helps you really deal with life from all perspectives. In the highs and the lows of life, you're still going to need and find passion to fuel your journey.
Yeah, so let's talk about passion. I think a lot of us could have different ideas of what passion really is, but really passion simply is what burns inside of you.
That's so good.
That passion on a deep level of what's deep inside of you is the thing that you cannot contain it, you can't shake it, you can't control it. And there's a verse in Scripture in Jeremiah, and it says that your word is like a fire shut up in my bones. Wow. And I think that's what passion really looks like, that it's something that you cannot contain. It's like a fire shut up in your bones.
Right, and it's something that will fuel you. That's why we say passion is our fuel, as a value. And when you look at the simple definition in the dictionary of passion, there's two definitions. One is an emotion that you can't control, or you can barely control. And the second is the life and sacrifice of Jesus on the cross. And so it's interesting that Jesus was so passionate in all that he did, and that definition is associated with the word passion, even in the common dictionary.
Yeah, it's very interesting that the second definition would be Jesus, that our God that sent his son to die on our cross for our sins, that would be the second topmost definition of what passion really looks like and what it truly means. And when I think about passion, I can't help but think about people that I know that when they talk about the things they're passionate about, it's so evident and so seen.
Yeah.
And I think with Jesus, he was passionate about people.
For sure.
That it is so seen in the Bible and every single story throughout all of his life and ministry, that you saw the value of people in his life and how passionate he was to serve people, to love people, to save people, to move in people's lives, to show up for people. And I even think about people in my life that when I have a conversation with them, I have this one friend. He is so passionate about working out and exercise and taking care of your body that every time I ask him a single question, he lights up. Wow. That you can just tell how passionate he truly is about this topic, about this area of health. And how many times, I think, do we overlook passion in our lives because we get so caught up in what we are doing?
Yeah.
Even a couple weeks ago, we were on a cruise, and we had so many conversations with some of the staff there. And I know that we're the kind of people that we take a moment to talk to the people that are taking care of us. Yeah. And it's so cool. You get to hear different stories, different people's backgrounds, where they come from, about their life. And on the cruise, there was certain staff that were from overseas that were actually working so that they could send money over to their families. Yeah. We had one person, she was from Indonesia. And I remember that she was working there. She had a 1-year-old baby that she was sacrificing her time with her baby so that she could provide for her baby. And I think it was so special because you saw the intentionality and passion in which she carried herself in her work. Yeah. That when she was serving and she was taking care of you, that there was a passion and excellence that made her stand out among anybody else. And it's because she was willing to pay the price and sacrifice, because she was doing it because she was passionate.
Right. And I think that's what you have to ask yourself. A lot of people say, how do I define my passion, or how do I find my passion? And really, passion is, what are you willing to die for? What are you willing to sacrifice for? I heard recently that you'll invest your time and your talent and your resources and things that you care about and things that break your heart. And so you'll find out very quickly whether you're passionate or not about certain things. If you just don't care about it, you won't be passionate about it. If it doesn't break your heart, you won't really care about it. It's the same with this mother who left her child with her parents to go find funds to provide for them and meet their physical and daily needs. And it took a sacrifice, like you said.
Yeah. I think another way you could even put it is, what are you willing to live for?
Wow.
Because
That's a better question.
I think, how are you spending your time that you have in living with passion, in the way that you speak, in the way that you work, in the way that you create, in the way that you live? Like, what are you willing to live for?
Wow.
And I think we can kind of get into what it looks like to live with passion. But I mean, first, what are you passionate about?
Well, I'm passionate about people. I'm passionate about what Jesus did for me on that cross, and then allows me to help people find life through Jesus. And so anything that leads people to Jesus, whether it's word or serving or just smile, I'm passionate about those things. And what I look at passion, I look at like it takes my life from a black and white scene and puts me into color. It gives me a fresh lens to look at life from a perspective of passion. And passion will help you create. Passion will help you be excellent. Passion will help you in every aspect of your life, the way you think, the way you act, so you can live passionately about simple things or big things. I'm passionate about people not going to hell. I'm passionate about people knowing Jesus Christ. I'm passionate about people finding their purpose in life. Those are things that help me go through each season of my life, that I do it with joy and I do it with passion.
Yeah, and I think passion is really easy to notice in someone, because it's more than just what's said, it's what's seen. That it's easy to see what people are passionate about more than what they just say. That you can look at someone's life and you can see, yes, clearly, you're passionate about people. You don't just say it, you show it. And it's seen in your life. And I think for me, I have a lot of different passions, and they all are expressed in different ways. But I think if you had to sum it down to one sentence, it's I'm passionate about seeing people find their fullest life.
Wow.
I'm passionate about seeing and being an aid to helping people discover what that looks like, and never quitting on that life. And it took me a while to realize the difference between passion and purpose, because I think it's very easy to confuse the two and make your passion your purpose, or your purpose your passion. And I think we could kind of deconstruct what that is, because the truth is, passion and purpose together creates synergy in your life.
So
that when if you are living with passion and you are living with purpose, you will be living at a very high level of life.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we confuse one for the other, and we tend to settle for only my purpose or only my passion, and we don't let the two coexist and live together to create this synergy. And so let's talk a little bit about that difference, and what it really means to live with passion, live with purpose, and how living together creates that kind of life.
Yeah, for me, passion is the why, and the purpose is the how. Passion is why I do what I do, and what I do every day. With purpose is the how, the strategies, the ways, the disciplines, the attitude that I have is more my purpose. But I have to have fuel in my passion to allow that purpose to be fulfilled. And they, like you said, they go hand in hand. They're interlinked. They're working. It's kind of like that snowball effect. They're growing on top of each other. And the more you're passionate about it, the more purpose you have. The more purpose you have, the more passion you have. And they just coexist.
Yeah. passion is an emotion.
Yeah.
Purpose is intention.
That's true.
And I think that purpose is the channel of your passion. And if we aren't careful, we can't let purpose dictate our passion.
Yeah.
Because passion is really what you bring to your purpose. It's the feeling, the energy, the excitement, the joy. It is the fuel of how you function in your purpose. And I can't help but think about maybe someone who's listening today and they're questioning, is there more to life than this? Than the mundane or just routine and finding what their life, where they're at right now, and they're just not satisfied. They're longing for more. And I feel like that's like a key indicator of a lack of passion, that you're not functioning in a level of capacity that has challenged you to bring passion.
Right.
And so maybe you are listening right now and you're in that situation. I would encourage you to find your why. Find that fire.
Yeah.
Evaluate deep down in your heart, what is the deepest things I care about? Maybe it's specific people groups. Maybe it's a project. Maybe it's a feeling you want to make people feel. Maybe it's a capacity, something you want to bring to the table. But what is your why? You have to find the why before you go to the how. Because you can be functioning in your purpose and not functioning with passion. And I think that will lead to very dangerous roads because you love the things you are doing, but you're not doing it with an attitude of love.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us, it's easy to function in that because we go on autopilot and say, this is my purpose. I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to keep on doing this. I know this is what I'm doing. But don't limit passion to doing something. Let passion change the way you do everything.
So
and I think if you make that shift in your mindset, you will see how truly or how much passion will truly shift your situation.
Yeah, and when you're passionate and you understand your why, no matter what obstacle you face, no matter what difficulty you face, you'll continue to work with purpose. And so it's very important to know what you're doing and what you're passionate about. I mean, even throughout Jesus's ministry, when you look at his life, even if he was doing a miracle, he was passionate about it. He was looking at people with intention and seeing their value and investing in them. And he was passionate about feeding the 5,000. He was passionate about discipling 12 men. You know, he was passionate about bringing back humanity into a relationship with their Creator. So everything he did with passion. The way he spoke, the way he took every thought captive, the way he walked, the way he talked, and he just did it in such a colorful way with passion. Even at the point where they were operating in the temple in an unhealthy manner, and he said, this is a house of prayer, and he lifted the tables up with emotion, and he was passionate about God's house. There's so many examples of just looking at Jesus' life, you can see how passionate he was, and he did it with intentionality.
Yeah, there's a beauty of living life with passion.
Yeah, so beautiful.
That it brings so much life, and like you said, it takes you from this black and white to color. And I love that visual perspective of what passion does because it brings life into everything you do. And I think there's some things that when we're functioning in our purpose that passion allows us to do because it might not be something we necessarily like to do or want to do, but because we're passionate and we know our why, we're willing to make the sacrifice. We're willing to go above and beyond in that moment. And I love passion because it really shows us endless possibilities, limitless discoveries of life. Because when you live with that perspective and that framework, that you have your eyes wide open to living in color, and it's not just black and white. It's not just getting to work today. It's not just taking care of my family. It's not just serving in church. It's not just going to church. It's not just following Jesus. But it gives you this emotion and this aspect that is, if you don't have it, it's noticed.
Yeah.
That it shifts the mundane into this beautiful thing of I'm willing to sacrifice and I'm willing to go above and beyond.
Yeah. And I think when you might be in a situation too, listening today, that you don't even know if you have passion. Or maybe at one point you did have passion and you've kind of dwindled. You know, that fire's not there in your bones, just causing you to get up and to go above and beyond what you're called to do and live a life with purpose. And I think it's important that we understand that you can grow passion or you can kill passion. And so that we can understand that there's some aspects in life and the way we look at life or the way we act or the emotion we choose to lead us can either build us up and we can grow in that passion, or it can really destroy and kill your passion.
Yeah, and let's talk about that, because I think it's really important to be aware of what's a passion killer and what's a passion grower, something that will elevate passion, something that makes passion blossom. And I think for me, if I look into my own life, some of the greatest passion killers are comparison.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Every single time I compare myself or compare to this person or this church or this creator or these different things, I instantly, my passion just goes down.
Yeah.
Because I'm not looking from something of that I love to do. I'm looking at I wish I could do it like them.
Yeah, when you start comparing, you're saying, I wish I had their physique, or I wish I had their mind, or their creativity. And that's probably the top passion killer is comparison. And the second one for me would be a lack of care. When you start saying on the daily, I just don't care. I don't care what they think. I don't care what I look like. I don't care what's happening. That's a passion killer. When you lack care and concern for those around you, and you make life all about you, and you're self-centered, self-focused, then when you lack care, that will be a passion killer in my book.
Yeah, I think when you don't care, it kills passion.
Yeah.
If you don't care about what you're doing, you don't care. You don't have the why. You don't have a reason. You don't have any incentive.
Living in survival.
And you're surviving and coasting, but you're not thriving. And I think something that I would say is a passion enhancer would be rest.
Yeah.
For me, every single time I get away or I rest, take a few moments to disconnect from my phone, social media, from the world, and I find true rest. I find a renewal of passion.
Yeah.
Because I think it's easy that we keep on going and going and going, and yes, passion fuels us, but if we don't fuel our passion and we don't fuel ourselves and rest and get new energy and new perspective, we'll find ourselves in a place of burnout.
Right.
And so if we're not continuing to rest and refuel, our passion can be at risk.
Yeah, and that definitely will help you grow in your area of passion. When you rest, when you work from a place of rest rather than working to rest. We started the year off in the rhythms of grace and talking about learning to live life from a resting place rather than working all year to get 6 days, 7 days off. Because to go on vacation, you got to work hard before you go and work harder when you get back. And so if you can learn to operate and rest in physically, spiritually, emotionally, rest in his promises. Yeah. Rest in his word. That's what Jeremiah was saying. He's like, I have this word in my bones. It's a fire. And so you have to read his word, rest on his promises, rest on his reassurances, and just trust him in that area of life.
Yeah, I think another enhancer would be gratitude.
Oh, for sure.
I think that combats comparison in the best way possible. That in a moment that you start to compare yourself, you'll kill your passion. Yeah. But the moment you shift and you be grateful for things, you will enhance it, and it will shift your perspective and attitude in that moment. Yeah. And so next time you want to compare, say a few things that you are grateful for and shift your perspective. I think another thing is inspiration. Every time I'm like watching a movie or I'm having a conversation, if I'm walking around, I lift my eyes and I look around outside, and I can find inspiration in different ways. And that really fuels my passion, because it's giving me a new outlook, a new idea. Or I've never seen it done that way. Or I really love those colors together. I really love how the birds are flying in the sky. All these different things are bringing life to my passion in a different way.
Yeah, and living a life with intention as well. That you have purpose, you have disciplines, that you're living with passion on purpose and putting those together. And I want to jump back to gratitude a little bit, because just looking at Jesus, at the definition, it was his sacrifice on the cross, his death was passion. There was a whole movie written about it, about the passion of Christ. And look what Jesus did in that upper room with the disciples before he was betrayed. What did he do? He took bread, and it symbolized his body that would be broken for humanity, and he lifted up and he gave thanks. He was grateful for the opportunity. He was grateful for the privilege. And then he took up that cup that represented that blood that was going to be shed. And he did the same thing. He lifted it up towards his Father, and he gave thanks. He operated in such a heart of gratitude to get to do this rather than have to do it. And I think when we learn to understand that Jesus died for us and gave us sacrifice, we can live that same life. We can serve, we can sacrifice, and we can do it with great passion.
Yeah, that's a life worth living.
Yes.
A life of sacrifice is a life worth living.
That's so true.
And I can say for us, in our capacity as we work in the church and we serve people week in and week out, that's our why, so that people can have a life-altering encounter with Jesus.
Amen.
And that's the reason it's worth all the sacrifice, all the hard work, every single moment of showing up week in and week out, every meeting, every detail, every event. All of that is only done because we are passionate to see people meet with Jesus. And I think another thing we could kind of dive into is this idea of passion versus a phase. Because I think it's very easy to confuse just a phase with passion. Like for me right now, I love pickleball. I'm getting into it. I'm playing with friends, playing with my wife, Natasha, and we're playing pickleball a bunch. But I'm not like passionate, like, oh, I'm going to drop everything I'm doing now and I'm going to go be a pickleball player professionally. Right. I'm passionate to play because it brings joy to me and it's fun, but I know it's a phase. Yeah. And I think we must be able to differentiate what a phase looks like and what passion truly is. Because if we get caught up in just a phase, it'll take us to a place that we don't want to go to, or where God never intended us to be. And I think a lot of times also we can let passion die down, and we thought that it was passion, but truly it was just a phase. And so what would you say to encourage someone today that is maybe struggling with that idea of just a phase of life and something that's passionate that can be sustained?
Yeah, I think as you go through seasons of life, you'll figure out what wakes you up, what gets you out of bed, where you're willing to sacrifice and live for. And phases come and go. Like you can be passionate about food or a movie or a song, but really let's not confuse what that is with passion. Passion is that thing you can't control, that desire, that passion in your heart that you can't deny it, and you just have to do it because it's in you and with you. And a phase comes and goes. It's something that I can live without. If I miss pickleball this week, no one's gonna die, right? But if I don't share the gospel, if I don't live a life of making disciples, someone could spend eternity separated from God. So that's what keeps me passionate. It helps me, keeps my attention and my focus between something that's just a phase or a fad. The next dance, line song, the next thing that comes and go, the games that change constantly. Those are phases and fads, but passion is permanent. What Jesus did on the cross was permanent. He was so passionate. It's affecting and changing lives some 2,000 years later. I don't think pickleball may even exist some 2,000 years later. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, I think you said it so well, that passion is permanent. It leaves a mark of remembrance. It leaves an impact. And I think a life lived in passion is a life that will be remembered.
Yeah.
That you will be remembered for your sacrifice, for the life that you were willing to live with passion. And I think there's two people groups that could be with this idea of passion. That maybe the person who's never found their passion and the person that has lost their passion.
Yeah.
And we've kind of addressed that idea of like, if you never have found your passion, that you need to find your why. But what about those people that have had passion and they've lost it? That their passion is out of place, that they're living in purpose, but they're lacking the passion of what they once had. How do you redevelop your passion, re-inspire it, reapply it? And how do you kind of go back, per se, to the start? Because I would say when you start something, you're passionate about it, and it's new, and it's fresh, and it's beautiful. And sometimes we let it die down and let the fire die down. How do we get back to that start, that pure place of passion when we start something?
I think you just have to examine your own heart, your own life on the daily. You have to see, is what I'm doing effective? Am I living with intention? Am I creating change? Am I challenging myself and others around me? All these self-evaluation questions you can ask yourself. But what I would encourage someone who's listening today that says, I lost my passion, it's kind of like saying, I lost love. You choose to stop loving because maybe you're hurt. Or you stop loving or caring or living in passion because you're trying to self-protect yourself. See, passionate people take risk. And without risk, you're not going to live a life of passion. And if you're kind of living in those margins of no risk, if you're living in those margins of self-protection, you're gonna live a life without passion. So if you want to start kindling passion, it's like that fire. You got to start little before you put the big logs on top. You have to have the little twigs and the little sticks, and then you can add to that. So just start where you're at. Maybe you just have a moment with Jesus and confess some sins in your life, confess some struggles in your life, and confess that you lost passion and you need him to help you find that emotion. And it's a choice. Just like I choose to love or not to love, I choose to be passionate or not to be chill. It's something that we can do by just surrendering and looking at our own self.
Yeah. Passion, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It brings a new way of life, it elevates our life. And I think that if you bring passion to the table, you will see a whole different outcome in the way that you live. That it's our fuel. It's like a fire shut up in our bones. That it's the reason of why we do what we do for everything that we do. Let passion change the way you do everything you do. True. And you will see a new life.
That's right.
Is there anything else you want to add to passion?
That's why we value it. As a church, it's one of our 6 values, that passion is our fuel. So we protect it, we harness it, we grow it instead of killing it. We operate in passion, and we do it with excellence, we do it with joy. We do it not because we have to, we get to live this life. And we can either choose to do it passionately or not.
Protect your passion.
Protect it.
Find your why. I think when you find your why, you'll find your passion. And it's important that you kindle it, you protect it, that you keep on going and let it change your life.
Amen.
Thank you so much for listening to the Floodgates podcast. We are here to live by faith, to be known by love, and to be a beacon of hope. We'll see you next time.